Tonight we're going to make some popcorn in the Dutch oven. This is a Wagner. I've had it for about 10 years. And it's a 5-quart, which you can barely see because of all the beautiful seasoning on there. Actually, one of the best things you can do to your Dutch oven if you want to season it is make lots of popcorn. Starters, turn the heat on medium. That's the low temperature method. And you want a good coating of oil here. So, maybe an 1/8 of an inch depth on the bottom. And then reach for your jar of popcorn, like so. What you want to do is grab 2 kernels. See that? Throw them in. Those are your test kernels. And then we're going to put the lid on and give it about 5 minutes till that comes up to heat and pop. Alright, we're going to check in on our test kernels. They're bubbling. That's a good sign. Been about 3 minutes. Bubbling. Alright, our test kernels are just about to pop. You want to listen for them. What we're going to do is add about 2/3 of a cup of popcorn. And once we get going, we're going to keep the lid ajar here to let some of the steam escape. And I have these kind of rubberized hot pads which I can put around here because you're going to shake this thing back and forth, make sure nothing gets burned, kind of like the old Jiffy Pop days. And that's about all there is to it. Alright, there went one of them. I don't know if you heard that. And let's see. So there goes one. The other one's about to go. Now it's important to note that if sometimes your test kernels are duds. So if more than about 30 seconds goes by and that second one hasn't popped, oh, there she goes. Alright, now you know your oil is hot enough to pop corn. So here we go. So if one of them doesn't pop soon enough, then you just ignore it and dump it in. Alright, there they go. About 2/3 of a cup. Put the lid on a jar. And we'll get cranking. Keeping it on medium heat. And you want to have your bowl handy. And the other thing I would highly recommend is using regular old iodized salt. It's nice and fine crystals. You don't want to use kosher salt for popcorn because the crystals are too big and it won't stick. If you're really psychotic like my dad, you'll put this stuff in a blender and make sure it's really fine. Now I actually have a jar of popcorn salt which is just blended iodized salt. But it's with the camping stuff tonight, so I'm not going to use it tonight. Alright, you're starting to hear some poppage. That's good. And what we're going to do is just like the old Jiffy Pop days, kind of give it a shake here. And all that does is it kind of rotates those kernels in the oil and make sure that they don't burn up. Very important to shake during these phases. Get your hot pads, get it on there, give it a little shake. Keeps it from burning. Alright, here we go. Smells good. Take a little peek in there. Getting there. We're good. Keep that lid ajar on, let some steam escape. The nice thing about Dutch oven popcorn is it's not full of perfluorooctanoic acid, which is used in the lining of the microwave popcorn bags. And that stuff is showing up in a lot of places, including babies' bloodstreams and other places where it really shouldn't be. Nobody's quite sure what it does to the human body, but my money's on something not good. Alright, so we're getting there, we're getting full. Now at this point, what you can do, you can actually dump a little bit of this corn out into your bowl and give yourself a little more time, a little more shake and bake action. So I'm going to do that right now. Check this out. Dump it over here in my bowl. This also allows you to assess how many kernels are left. So there's a good bit in there. I'll put my lid back ajar. Give it a little shake. And what that does is it floats the kernels on top that have popped and keeps the ones that haven't down low where they can cook. There's a little kernel that hopped out. Tasty. Now, the important thing here is not to burn it. Our strongest ally is medium heat instead of higher heat. But the next thing you want to do is just keep watching, make sure that when most of those kernels have popped, you go ahead and pull it off. Better to leave a few unpopped kernels than to burn your popcorn. And you're always going to have some duds. There's always going to be a little bit that won't pop in there. Alright, so I'm going to kill the heat. I'm going to pull that. Oh, no, we still got a little bit of action. Nothing's looking burned. I don't smell any burning. So we'll keep shaking now at the final phases here. Make sure nothing burns. Alright, I'm going to call it a wrap. And again, better to leave a few unpopped kernels. Ooh, that was pretty good. Than to burn your popcorn. Popcorn kernels are cheap. So kill your heat. Get your escapees in your bowl of corn here. That looks pretty tasty, huh? That ain't from a microwave, kids. So what you want to do here is lay in just a little bit of salt. What I do is I grab a chopstick. If I can find one, that is. Alright. You're just trying to move that popcorn around, let that salt settle down into the lower layers. And better to undersalt popcorn. It's kind of like soup. You know, it's not a sauce, so you don't want to oversalt it. Same thing true with popcorn. By the time you eat a couple handfuls, if it's oversalted, it's going to start to get on your nerves. So much better to have a real subtle salty flavor that really brings out the corn. Because of course, when you make popcorn in your Dutch oven, you can actually taste the taste of the corn. Unlike in your microwave, where it's all just full of butter flavor and terrible chemicals that are bad for you, in my unvarnished opinion. Alright, so I'm going to taste this. Not bad. Just a hint of salt, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. Remember, you can always add more salt. Hard to take it out. Alright, let's go through one more time. And of course, if you want, you can melt butter and pour that in too. I kind of like it plain myself. That's tasty. I'm going to give it just one more splash with the salt. And call it good. That's good.